Hey guys, so today's goal is that you can identify the most important parts of an on-demand writing. So as we work towards our goal, I want you to think about why is it important to understand on-demand writing. So the main thing that we want to do today is to really focus on what it on-demand is because it is very similar to K-prep. You get 90 minutes during an on-demand, you get 90 minutes during a K-prep. You get to read some text that goes along with what you're going to write during on demand. The same thing happens with K prep. So basically, on demand is just in preparation for what K prep will look like. So we are going to go over the kid friendly rubric today. And what I want you to do is mainly have a discussion. If you're doing this on your own because you missed the lesson, then I want you to start jotting down some things that you notice, okay? So if we're joining in a class and you're in class with me or with Miss J or with Miss Moore or with whomever your teacher is this year, then you will click on the rubric and I want you to look at it. So you will be receiving one of these during your on-demand writing, and that is useful to help us remember what things to do. So we're going to get together as groups and we're going to look at what the criteria for a 3 or a 4 is. Okay, so I want you to think about what can I do to get a 4 or a 3. A 3 is proficient, but a 4 is above and beyond. So I want to make sure that you look at that. I want you to also highlight or take notes of key details that you need to focus on the most. So we're going to go over some important parts here. And please remember that K-Prep says the highest areas of difficulty are 1, awareness of an audience, idea development, supporting details, and grammar, usage, and mechanics, which basically is the entire rubric. So we're going to divide into groups. Again, if you're by yourself, you might just have to work by yourself. And you're going to come up with a list of 5 items that support each of these areas of difficulties as hard. So, for example, what is hard to you when you look at grammar? So let's look at the kid-friendly rubric. And now we're going to focus on the 4s and the 3s. Okay, so I'm not a very good writer. Let's pretend that I'm not a very good writer. So I usually get 2s and 1s. But I'm going to look up. My goal is to get a 3 today. What if I'm usually between 3s and 2s? Then my goal is to get 4s. If I usually get 4s and I occasionally get a 3, then I really want to focus on that 4, right? So my goal is to always go up. So when you look at the one point that you want to see, for example, I'm not really good, so in writing, I just have difficulties coming up with ideas. I'm not a really good speller and whatnot. So I'm going to look at the 3 as my goal. 4 is way too much for me right now. So I'm going to look at the 3 and I'm going to read through every bullet point. And I want you to highlight at least 5 areas of difficulty for yourself. The goal is that as you highlight those areas, when we do our writing or when we start our writing this week, that you will focus on increasing your proficiency in those areas. That means that you might ask your teacher for help to know how to do that. What strategies can you look for it? So, because right now, obviously, it's not during K-Prep that you'll have a spell checker, but if spelling is not your thing, you might want to use words that you know how to spell instead of words you don't. If you can run a spell check if you need to, because Google lets you do that. Of course, during K-Prep, you wouldn't have that choice, so you might have to choose other ways to write things. What if I don't use transitional words? And that's my goal. So I need to focus on transition words. So you may want to pull up a list. Just Google search a list of transitional words and then make your goal to incorporate at least 3 or 4 of those words that you might see there without repeating too many times one of them. Okay. So what if I don't have really good idea development? That's when you might want to reach with your teacher and work on idea development tomorrow or as we start writing so that the teacher can teach you how to brainstorm. So what I want you to do is come up with a list of 5 things and also a goal on how to solve those problems, okay? So that's for us to do. If you're working in group, then you may have worked in a group and figure out what is it that you need to work on to either earn a 3 or a 4. And again, set up some goals so that you can be working on the things that you find the most difficult.